This is the Antec 100. So it is self-described as gaming performance that won't break your bank. The 100, a member of Antec's legendary line of gaming cases, and I will agree with them about that. The 100 series, with standouts like the 900, the 300, have been a staple for gamers everywhere. I remember going to Fragapalooza, I guess it was a couple years ago, but I did a bit of a walk around through the entire, whatever it was like a warehouse or an arena or something where they had all those people crammed into, and I couldn't help noticing as I was walking around that probably about 20 to 30% of the people there had either an Antec 900 or a 300. And when you have that kind of dominance in terms of market share, it's impressive regardless of what kind of product category you're talking about. So let's see if the 100 can live up to the tradition of those great cases. Now, based on the naming scheme, and knowing already that the 300 is a pretty value-oriented gaming case, and the 200 is even more so, I would venture a guess that the 100 is all about value features versus luxury features. But we're going to see exactly what this case is all about in just a moment here. So, here we go. Why don't we turn it this way first? The first thing I noticed about it is it doesn't have a window, which is fine. Not every gamer necessarily wants a window on their case. So I'm just going to try and find somewhere to stand where I can easily point at things but not block all the light. You know what? I'm going to move to this side. Okay, so the 100. We have on the outside, full mesh in the front, so this is just like we're used to seeing. This is a bit of a tighter mesh versus what we've seen in the past on 100 series cases, although it doesn't look to me as though it's going to restrict airflow in any meaningful way. We've got a nice silver and black Antec logo down here at the bottom, and it looks like you can actually move this around should you so desire because it's just on a 5 1/4 inch cover. Alright, we've got a pretty traditional looking 100 series look, so this looks just like the 300 in terms of these ridges at the front. We've got our power switch, no reset switch, microphone, headphones, power, as well as hard drive LEDs, and we have 4 front USB 2.0, so we don't have any USB 3.0 on this case, although that is to be expected for a value chassis. Go ahead and stay where you are. I'll rotate the case. So on the side, we've got an optional 120mm fan mount, and then on the top, we've actually got a pre-populated 140mm fan. So that's going to provide a lot of ventilation for the CPU area, and then if you do install a power-hungry and heat-generating GPU, you can also install a fan back there. Here we've got another 120mm fan in the back, and then we also find a fairly standard layout in the rest of the back of the case, although this is interesting. Look at this. Okay, so we've got our I/O shield, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 PCI slots. So this may be one of the best value cases on the market that is capable of accommodating some of those extended motherboards that have more than 7 PCI slots. That's kind of neat. Don't forget too, there is a use for this bottom PCI slot sometimes, even if your motherboard does not have extra slots. For example, the Gigabyte X58 Extreme, or EX58 Extreme, whatever it was, had a PCI Express 16X slot at the very bottom. So if you wanted to run 3-way Crossfire or SLI, you actually needed either an empty space or an extra PCI slot at the very bottom in order to install a dual slot graphics card in that bottom one. So there you have it. Bottom mounted power supply. Okay, so standard ATX only. We don't have any support for Antec's CPX standard. And we're going to go ahead and take these side panels off. So Antec has included thumb screws, which is fortunate because I left my screwdriver upstairs. Okay, we're going to take off the side panel. Well, there's a little bit of flex on the side panel, but you have to expect that on a more value-oriented case. One of the tricks that I've often used in the past with thinner metal cases, especially if you run into a situation where the side panel is vibrating or something like that, like you install a fan here and some of that vibration gets transferred to the side panel, is you can actually put little bits of blue sticky tack on the inside of the panel where it contacts the case, and that can eliminate any vibration. So there's the other side panel. Go ahead and take that off. Find somewhere to put it. And here is the inside of the case. So the first thing we find inside is a survey. of all things. So you should go to that URL, should you so desire, and then, yeah, okay. And then we've got some hardware. So there's some soft silicone hard drive mounting grommets, as well as screws, and then we've got all the cases we need the screws we need for mounting the motherboard in the case, and any drives and all that good stuff that we may require. Okay, here on the inside we've got a couple little raised spots for the power supply to mount in. However, looking at the overall design of the case, I'd recommend mounting your power supply with the fan up. So that way you're going to make sure you're getting enough airflow into your fan. Some cases do have mesh here at the bottom so that you can mount it fan side down, but I don't think I'd do that in this particular case. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 3.5-inch bays, although I can verify that if I actually check that. Yeah, we've got 6 internal 3.5, 3 external 5.25-inch bays, and then we have 1 internal mounted 2.5-inch SSD mounting bay. So actually you can see that if I turn the case this way, there are our mounting points for installing an SSD in the 100. It looks like we've also got 2 front 120mm fan mounts. So the way those are going to be accessed is by pulling off the front bezel. If I can figure out how to do it, then I will gladly demonstrate for you guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3, there we are. Okay, so we can pull off the front bezel, and from there, it shouldn't be too challenging to figure out how to mount the fans, although I can't quite figure it out. Ah, clips, look at that. Okay, I think. Okay, give me a moment. Yeah, it's that simple. You just take your fan, you line it up in the right spot, and clip it in just like that. So that's how you mount your fans. And then you can go ahead and install the front bezel back onto your case, being careful that the wires are running into their correct locations. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I wanted to show you guys here at the front of the chassis. So let's just see. Oh, okay. The way that hooks in is actually kind of neat. So you can swing it out, so then you can make sure everything hooks in correctly, and then it clips in on this side. So I think that's pretty much everything there is to say about it. We've got a motherboard tray cutout, so you can install and uninstall backplate requiring CPU heatsinks without taking your motherboard in or out of the case. So that's a pretty nice convenience factor. We've also got a little bit of cable management going on the back here. So they've included a couple zip ties as well as anchor points for a couple more. Although most of the thicker cables, like your 8-pin and like your 24-pin, may or may not be able to run up the back of this motherboard tray. Kinda hard to say, but I'm thinking maybe not. You know what though, guys? If anyone has a 100, please let me know if you were able to run your 24-pin and your 8-pin CPU power connector behind the back of the motherboard. So thank you for checking out my unboxing and first look at the Antec 100. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.